We'll call this meeting to order.
Oh yes, oh yes. This meeting of the Board of Commissioners for Sumner County is now in session pursuant to adjournment. Anyone wishing to speak to an item on the agenda may sign up now. God bless this country and this honorable court. Commission.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Pickard.
It's even written down.
Y'all leave Mr. Pickard alone, please. Our pastor tonight is Dr. Aaron Allison, the lead pastor of CIL, Christ is Love Church, at 1004 Drakes Creek Road, Hendersonville, Tennessee. He grew up in Texas and has been the lead pastor of CIL since 2008. I believe he may be a Cowboys fan.
Go Titans. What's it?
He holds a Doctor of Education from Union University, Master of Arts in Leadership from Southeastern University, and a Bachelor in Religion degree from Mid-America Nazarene University. Dr. Allison is an adjunct instructor at Union University's Hendersonville campus, and he and his wife Beth have been married for 21 years and have 3 children. Thank you, Aaron, for joining us tonight and leading our prayer.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you join me in prayer? God, we come before you in humility because we do need your help. We thank you for this great country that you've, in your providence, have birthed for religious freedoms and for the individuals to thrive. And so, God, we ask that you would continue to watch over our nation. Lord, we pray for the great state of Tennessee, for the characteristics that you have given this state, that, God, that we would, as citizens, live responsibly, and that we, God, would honor the state that you've given us. And we pray for Sumner County. God, this is a special, influential county in our state, which impacts not just the state, but this whole nation. I thank you for these men and women who have answered the call to leadership. I know that it's hard to be a leader, and often they are not appreciated. But God, we honor their courage. And Lord, we honor, God, their decision to serve the citizens of this community. And I pray that you would strengthen them with wisdom from above, unite them together with what is best for the people that you care for. We do pray that in this time that's been declared a global pandemic, we pray, God, that COVID-19 would recede and would leave our planet, and that you would continue, God, to strengthen all those who make decisions and care for the sick and prevent the spread of this virus. We ask this because we know that there's some things only you can do, and we rely upon you. We do our best, but we trust in your power and your strength. And it's in the name of Jesus that I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
You will face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Miss Kruger had an accident this afternoon and fell and possibly broke her ankle. So let's keep her. I meant to mention that before the prayer. So let's keep her in our thoughts and prayers. But let's check our roll.
Roll call is now open. Each commissioner, please record your vote.
Let's do it. Yeah, we got Luke and Caroline.
22 members are recorded as present, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kemp. All right. As we move to the approval of the regular agenda and consent agenda, I'd like to add number 3 under Committee on Committees, Nonprofit Allocation Panel. It's on your desk. I'd like to add that to the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Mr. Okay. Can I take the motion second before I do that? Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so I got a second from Commissioner Foster, a motion from Mr. Foster, second from Ms. DeWitt. Mr. Mansfield.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pull 2009-06 as well as 2009-15 off the consent agenda and put on the regular agenda.
Okay. 2009-06, 2009-15. Those would both go to the regular budget agenda
Yes.
for Commissioner Taylor? Yes. Okay. All right, we can do that. Commissioner Taylor?
I'd emailed inquiring about data for the COVID and the mask mandate.
Yes, sir.
How can I go about getting that data?
I would contact the county mayor's office.
And the reason is because there's been a lot of people reach out to me, and I found some data that from 9/2 to 9/3, the cases dropped over 500 in one day.
Yeah, I can answer that one, actually. The state changed the way that it was calculating active cases. They went from, basically there'd been cases out there for a while, and they went to a 14-day active case number, and they made that change right around, I think right around the time that you said. So the state health department changed the way that they calculated what an active case was.
Okay. Because, you know, this has affected us here last month.
Sure.
Citizens being locked out of the chambers. And so I would just really like to get that data.
Sure.
One more, Mr. Chairman, no one was locked out of the chambers.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rain. Yes, so noted. Okay. All right, so we got an agenda, got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, your minutes are before you. I'll wait for a motion to approve the minutes. Motion made by Commissioner Chris Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Baker Ring. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Recognition of the public. I see no one signed up to speak on an agenda item tonight. Okay. All right, your veterans report is on your desk. Motion to approve our consent agenda items. Motion made by Commissioner Lauren Sluter. Okay. Seconded by Commissioner Chris Taylor. See no one in the queue. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, I heard a no from Commissioner Mo Taylor. Okay, so we'll say 21 in favor, 1 opposed. All right, your written reports are on your desk. Is there a motion to approve our notaries? Motion made by Commissioner Nipper. Second by Commissioner Shell. Hey, y'all help me out. If you make a motion or a second, if you'll hold your hand up, it makes it, the mask kind of muffle sound, and I'm already hard of hearing, so I apologize. All right. Notaries have been, motion's been made and seconded. Let's vote.
Notary applications are on the board. Each commissioner, please record your vote. $21 votes are entered. Anyone not voting, wishing to vote, anyone wishing to change your vote? 21 affirmative votes. Notaries are approved.
Shelley is voting yes. I pushed the button and didn't vote. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay. Unanimous. All right, we'll roll on. Committee on committees. Mr. Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee on Committees met tonight for regular scheduled time.
Hang on, can you hit your microphone, Mr. Good?
I apologize. Committee on Committees met tonight in its regular scheduled time, and the business at hand was threefold, plus the item you added, including the item you added at the beginning. The first was the appointment of the newly formed Sumner County Parks and Recreation Board, submitted by the county executive. It's Oliver Berry, Mark Brown, Deanne DeWitt, Aaron Elhart, Dr. Mary Brown Day Reynolds, Tom Tucker, Sean Utley, and it was unanimous, and I so move.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Good. Motion made by Commissioner Good, seconded by Commissioner Becker. Okay. Hey, and let me remind everybody too, like as we've journeyed through this pandemic, if everybody can stay seated, that'll just help, and we'll just use the microphones.
Sorry.
Commissioner Taylor.
I'm not done, Mr. Chairman. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's in the queue. Go ahead, Commissioner Mo Taylor. Sorry, hang on 1 second. We got to get the mic back to you. 1 second. There it goes.
It's good now.
Yeah.
Well, just wondering what sparred the formation of this. I've been here 10 years and we hadn't had a board like this. And a couple questions. Is this a compensated board?
Mr. Chairman, I defer to the county executive to explain.
Okay. Ms. Holt, could you explain about the parks?
Yes, sir. This is not a board that's compensated. These are individuals that will be donating their time. This is a requirement. Several months ago, the County Commission funded a park plan. That's a requirement to apply for a TDEC grant. That's a 50-50 match. The reason we're applying for a TDEC grant is that on the current school property of Liberty Creek, one of the sellers of the property, Mr. Brown, donated $8 million. $7.5 million of that went to an educational trust that's used for technology, and $500,000 of that in the will was donated to the county for the purpose of building a park on that property. I'm working in coordination with Dr. Phillips. The two trustees are whoever the county mayor are and the director of schools by the will. So they distribute the funds based on the needs for the school and a park. This Parks Board will review the park plan, and then it'll be forwarded to the Planning Commission. Will come back and be blessed by the County Commission, and it'll be submitted with the application with the Parks Plan to TDEC. It's a requirement for that $500,000 grant. So what we're going to do, we're going to leverage that $500,000 with another $500,000 for $1 million to start the new park on that campus. So it'll be eventually a high school, middle school, elementary school, and at least, probably more, a 50-acre recreational park. I hope that answers your question. And by the way, all of the money is non-tax local money. In other words, if the state matches that money, it'll be state funds, and it'll be funds from Mr. Brown's trust, an individual that gave it to the people of Sumner County. Hope that answers your question.
That's one of them. Will this board stay in effect after that, and will it take up the subjects of greenways, since greenways are tied to parks?
Mr. Holt, would you like to answer that question?
This board will be an advisory board for all county parks, and we have several parks now. I don't know if you're familiar with it. We have a park out in Castilian Springs that's over 100 acres. We have the Bridal House, and it's got a park out there that probably consists of about 7-8 acres. We have the Greenway, and then we're going to have this new county park on that campus of Liberty Creek.
Mr. Taylor, does that answer all your questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, I see no one else in the queue. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, let the record reflect I've got Mr. Mansfield and Mr. Mo Taylor voting no, and Mr. Wright voting no. So I have 3 no's and 19 affirmatives. The motion passes. Okay, emergency, I'm sorry, Mr. Goode.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the item that was added to the agenda tonight, the forming of the NPAP, Nonprofit Allocation Panel, that is submitted to you. It didn't make the original agenda because it was just too late getting to Mrs. Dennon's office, and it was added to here tonight. The recommended folks to go on there is Commissioner Deanne DeWitt, Commissioner Jerry Becker, Commissioner Merrill Hyde, community member Brandon Webster, community member Zoe Dole, and a non-voting advisor, Aaron Birch. It was discussed and passed unanimous. I so move.
Motion made by Commissioner Goode, seconded by Commissioner Ring. I see no one in the queue. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, please reflect Commissioner Mo Taylor voting no. All right, motion passes. Mr. Goode?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, folks will remember when we passed committees that Chris Taylor has resigned from Emergency Services. Terry Wright has shown the overwhelming request of support for that. Commissioner Taylor is in support for him to fill his vacancy, and it was unanimous, and I so move.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Goode, seconded by Commissioner Becker. Mr. Taylor, do you want to say something? Oh, okay. Sorry, I saw him first. All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, that's it. Business at hand for the following month thus far is on the back of your list.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Goode. Education, Mr. Sullivan.
No report.
Okay. Highway Commission, Mr. Hinton.
No report, but next month.
Be prepared to tell us what you think about bridges in Sumner County.
Okay. I think that was a Clint Eastwood movie, wasn't it, or was that Madison? Sorry, that was a terrible joke. Okay, Mr. Taylor.
Bridges in Sumner County.
Yeah, we had several issues during the last couple of weeks with flooding, and I've got phone calls from one road 2 different times. Rogues Fork Road, I've shared that with the highway chairman, and we've talked about this before. As the more and more people come to this, you stick tiles in creeks, you divert the water out into the roads and stuff. So could we possibly address that in the future by some kind of subcommittee or something?
Yeah, I think, I would suggest, can you get with Mr. Hinton and y'all work through, I think it would, because I think we'd want the road superintendent on board with this.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I would, if you don't mind, talk to Mr. Hinton, and I think that would make a lot of sense for a committee to study that.
Well, there's people asked me to bring it up here, so that's what I did. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Hinton?
Yeah, I would remind everybody that we was in pretty good shape on some of these waterways till the EPA decided that we didn't need to get in the creek and clean out the gravel bars, and that's what's brought us to this place. So we may be beating our head against a wall, but we'll take it up and see what the superintendent of highways can do about it. She may have some way that she can remedy some of that problem.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Hinton. All right, General Ops, Michelle.
No report, sir.
Okay. All right, Emergency Services. Yeah, Mr. Driver.
You want me to speak about the radio rebates, or you want me to wait till that comes up in budget, or?
You can go ahead and share if you want
Well, this came through our committee last week, and I think these radio rebates, which are 2009-15, were always meant, or they had always planned to spend those on the projects. They knew that would be coming back, as opposed to asking for $46,000 more originally of county tax dollars. They knew they'd probably get rebates, they're going to use them. They've done a great job. They put these towers up all over the county. They've checked every grid in the county, been to every school and every county building to make sure they can talk from inside the building. But there's one spot they're having trouble with out at Long Hollow Pike, out near the church and all that, where there's a hill they're blocking, and they're needing to put another tower there. And they're wanting to use this rebate money, which again is not going to be new money coming from us, to help put up that tower. I think the tower is probably going to be more than that, but that money is to go towards that, and that's what that request is for.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Driver. Commissioner Mansfield, is this about this topic? Yes. I'm going to ask, if you don't mind, if you can wait till it comes up in budget when we got the motion, if that's okay. All right, Financial Management, Mr. Becker.
No report.
Okay. Legislative, Mr. Ring.
No reports.
Okay. Budget, Commissioner Taylor. It's like a standoff. Jerry Foster touched the. No.
Jerry, I don't think you understand how upset Mr. Kemp has gotten with me over the years for about my microphone misuse. All right, 2009-01 appropriating $2,807,235 for coronavirus relief funds for local governments. What this is this is a grant that was given to the county. Up to that number, we can use it for specific things. One of those is you'll see in your packet, is like a command center. It's a 1.2 million. There's obviously a refrigerator in there in case we get a vaccine later to hold it. Different functions like that. Laptops and some tech that we're going to be able to use in regards to that for if people have to work off site. The biggest part to remember about this is that is not the full $2,800,000. There is still money left that we are working through. There's some items that we've targeted to hopefully purchase, but they have to make sure, one, that they'll fit the criteria, and two, that we can get it within the time frame that the grant requires. We're asking that we allocate all of the money. Obviously, for us to spend it, we'll have to, if we come up with different things, they'll have to come back through the whole commission. But this is to allow us to spend up to that point if we find appropriate items and meet the criteria and the guidelines and everything else. I so move.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Chris Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Foster. Mr. Mansfield, you're in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had some questions about this since I think it's being used for, IT equipment for county offices. And my question about this was, this fund from the Tennessee Comptroller of the Treasury sent in this packet. It says it's restricted to those incurred during COVID-19 or limited to. So I guess my question is, and I know the state gave us $1.9 million as well that was unrestricted, but the way I was reading this letter is from the I guess a federal grant, seems that it is restricted. Can you explain that to me a little bit, or is this?
Absolutely. What is bear in mind, there's two different funds. There's one fund that is given to the counties, and that was through all the counties in the state, and that was to make up for either revenue lost or expenses they incurred, and that one is however we choose to spend it. That's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today specifically is a $2.8 million grant that came through, and it's CARES Act money indirectly given to us by the states. And any criteria anything that we've listed already has already been approved as meeting the criteria in the timeline, because it also has to be spent by, I believe it's December 31st or the end of this year. So it's kind of, not only do you have to have it spent on appropriate things, but you have to be able to receive them in time. The command center's one that we just kind of got blessed on because it worked out where there was one almost done that someone had backed out on. So we were able to jump in on that. The tech is obviously, if heaven forbid we ever have to shut down or work off site again, we'll have a lot better ways to do it. And an example of some of it is like for planning, looking at ways that you can print maps and things that are needed off site, obviously in a mobile. So there's a lot of different varieties that we're using for. Obviously everything before we purchase it has got to be met with their approval to say, yes, we'll pay for it. So if there's a fear that something's not going to meet the criteria, we won't buy it because we'll have already gotten it approved. Does that kind of cover for you?
A little, getting closer. So, I mean, on this list, like 2 motor vehicle renewal self-service kiosk, is that for, what is that for?
It's again, it allows us to use that money, and that's non-contact for renewal of a driver's license and things like that. So you can come in, do your driver's license. You don't have to interact with anybody. So it falls under the COVID criteria, in that it's personless, so to speak.
So IT equipment for county offices, what county offices is that for besides planning? Is that?
Well, and we haven't got the exact number yet because, again, Dennis is still researching everything, but it's the idea that everybody in the county that's county government, if they have to work off-site at some point, much like we did this last pandemic, we want to make sure that we've got the appropriate laptops that are secure, that we've got enough servers, Wi-Fi, everything related to that if you had to work off-site, you could do everything you do right now. So like an example in Mr. Kemp's office, that's a lot of hardware that you're going to have to duplicate. We're hopefully going to be able to do that with this and buy things that have a little bit longer lifespan, shelf life, because it's a little bit better.
So the goal with this is mobility for all of these purchases, is that correct?
The majority, it's not necessarily the goal, but that's just how it meets the criteria for some of it. That, like the mobile command one, I mean, you could say it's mobility, but it's just the fact that it's an off-site command center that allows you, let's say we have 2 months from now, vaccines come out and they need to deploy them. That command center can actually be used as a deployment area where they can administer vaccines out of it. So you could go to rural parts of the county where people may not be able to get in to the county for whatever reason and go and deploy and do it that way. So there's a research reason for each item, and it has to be, otherwise they won't approve it.
So regarding the state funds of the 1.9 million that's coming from the state, where are we in that process?
Actually, that's kind of it's not really basis on this, so I don't think it'd be appropriate to talk about it right now.
So it's a separate item?
Yes, sir, that's what I'm saying. It's a whole separate fund.
So, and the reason I pulled off the radios, because of the issue that Commissioner Driver had mentioned, was, you know, if you're thinking about disaster preparation and you have radios and it doesn't work. And so I was wanting to know, what can we do from this in order to, is there anything we can appropriate from this towards radios, any shortfall, so that we're not pulling from local funds for that shortfall that we are experiencing?
Actually, Ken has been looking at that, and let's finish this one first, and then we'll come to that, and I'll explain what we're doing with the radios. But there is money, that 2.8 is not completely allocated all the way. That's what we're asking. So if for some reason we have to use it for radios, we have that. So we just need to give ourselves the option, because again, we got about 2 months to really get it done.
So how much is left from this when you say not completely allocated, because
I
we're
want to say,
appropriating it?
and don't hold me to it because I haven't looked at the numbers. And again, we haven't got exact numbers on the tech as far as laptops, things like that. Thank you, sir.
1.6 that we're allocating right now, or
No. 1.6 is remaining.
Yeah.
But
And obviously, Jeremy, as soon as we find out what we are going to spend it on, it comes back in front of this, this commission, so that way we can approve it.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Commissioner Mo Taylor.
So $1.1 million on this one page here, that's for this mobile RV unit thing
Yes, sir.
to drive around to different locations?
Actually, what it is, if you've ever I'll just give you the example. I don't want to say movie stuff, but like Nashville has one. Just about every county and city has one to some degree. And what it is it's a mobile command post that you use for multiple disciplines. So let's say when we had the evacuation of all the senior citizens from the nursing home, that would have been a perfect time to deploy it, because it coordinates with your media resources. It taps in for logistics of, say, computers, pulling Wi-Fi, different things like that. It gives you access to your different databases that you might have that you wouldn't be able to pull in the field, along with live feeds for the news and different things. It's literally a command post that lets you do everything you need to do in one spot. And instead of trying to do it from multiple locations, which is what Chief Miller and Ken Widener had to do over the pandemic, where they had to work out of their office at some point. They had to go to different areas. This gives you one location to work from that you can move as you need to based upon the tragedy. Regrettable, and God forbid we ever have anything like this, but if you have a school shooting, you deploy that. If you have a large-scale evacuation, you deploy that. It's a resource that gives you a hard facility to work out of.
It's similar to the one that they had at North Sumner School when we had the mass murder.
Yeah, the TBI has one, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So that's the best. I mean, the TBI's got it. I think Hendersonville's got a bus that they're using right now, Hendersonville PD. Yeah, so most departments have one. We just haven't been able to, and this is an opportunity for us to get one for the county so it can cover us for both the Sheriff's Department, OEM, and everyone else that might need it.
Well, you're going to have to bear with me a minute.
You're fine.
So you think about this in my district. We're going to have a unit like this, which is good. I'm not knocking the unit. But this is COVID relief money. One thing that they tell you to do in COVID is wash your hands. But what does it take to wash your hands? Water.
These funds can't be used for capital purchases like that. My understanding is it's got to be items that you can put your hands on. I understand what you're saying as far as water lines. I don't disagree, but this is not somewhere where you could tap into it.
But you understand my perception.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying that this grant won't work that way. Yeah.
Is, the federal government, whoever's dangling this money at us, and we're going to spend it because we have to, but we're still going to leave citizens out in the county. So I mean, that's just, I'm playing the game and the cards that I'm dealt and the hand that I have. So it's just hard for me to explain that to a lot of people. I mean, it really is.
In all respects, sir, as I recall, the mayor for Westmoreland said at our last subcommittee meeting, he can't add a water line anywhere in the city of Westmoreland because they're not prepared for it. So I think maybe that might be something we keep on our committee that we've got there, Mo, rather than right here and now.
That's only a small portion of my district.
Let's move on. This is any of this motion, Mr. Taylor. Let's take that up another time.
Well, okay. So, what, you talked about the computers and all that. Could this money be used, since the hub of our operations is here with the county clerk, and we've got numerous complaints about our system here and how it functions, and especially out in the hallway. Could it be, some of that money be used to update that?
Which system are you talking about? And honestly, Mr. Taylor, what we're doing is trying to say, we're not sure, like I said, there's $1 million left. That's something that honestly, rather than do it while we're discussing this motion, we could discuss afterwards, because once we've allocated it, then we can look at any possibilities, we just have to find out if they meet the criteria or not. But you could ask me a million what ifs right now, I'm gonna say the same answer every time, we won't know until we check it. But there's no sense discussing it, because if we allocate the money, then we can move forward and check all of them out then.
Enough said.
Mr. Graves,
Mr. Chairman.
rocking his Tennessee mask, ready for football
That's
this
right.
weekend.
We're ready for Saturday. You mentioned something about driver's license. Did you mean tags, maybe?
I'm sorry, sir?
You said something about driver's
Yeah,
license.
I apologize. I was giving an example of a kiosk like what we use for driver's license, how you
Yeah.
can go some places. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Graves. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Also,
Thanks, bud.
is any kind of matching money we have to do with this, or?
No, that's, the only thing we've got to match is we got to do it by the end of the year, Mr. Graves.
Okay. My name's Steve, by the way. Thank you, Mr.
Well,
Chairman.
I'm not going to have the chairman call me down for using your first name again.
Have my gavel ready. Mr. Ring.
Just a couple of clarifications. If we look at the list, there's a 1.6 million other charges. That's the money that that Mayor Holt was referring to. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, sir?
Yes, it is.
The 1.6 million under other charges?
Yes,
That's
sir.
the money the Mayor Holt was referring to, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's money we're hoping to use for other items.
And the other thing, is this one of those, this is the one that requires that we buy things that we would not normally have purchased? Is that correct?
I'll be honest, Mr. Ring, we would probably never be able to afford the command center if it
That's
wasn't for
what
this.
I mean.
Yeah.
We would not
Yeah.
have, that would have not been in our budget.
Yes, sir.
So this is something we would normally have not purchased.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
When I say it's a blessing, I mean that sincerely.
Absolutely, I understand, because I'm on a committee that's received some of that same money, so I understand. Thank you very much.
Mr. Wright.
I want to make very clear, the mobile command center, if you were not there April 28th of 2019, 3 miles from my driveway, you do not realize how bad we needed a new mobile command center. It's not just for EMA, EMS, it's for anywhere in this county that we have an emergency. And I want to make sure, it's going to be similar to the TBI command center that come up and made our little school bus look like a...
Yes, it's the one that the shell they had done already, most of it was already completed, but the interior, so we just got, like I said, very, very lucky in the sense that the people backed out on that one, so it worked out timing-wise for us to jump into it. What normally would take 6 months or longer, we got to condense really quick, so it'll be perfect for the sheriff's department.
All right, and I'll have some comments on the radio system when it comes up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Hinton.
I want to speak before we leave after all this is settled. Please, sir, if you'd allow me to, it's not on the agenda. Whole different subject.
Okay.
Now?
But, or you can wait, it's okay.
Well, I'll just wait. I want Ms. Tucker to talk to us a little bit before we leave about a subject.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Remind me if I miss you.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Mansfield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to clarify, I think the budget chairman said by the end of this year, we have to allocate all 2.8 million. Is that right? Or am I understanding correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So obviously, we'll be taking this 1.6 unallocated up next month. Just,
Next 2
starting the
months,
process,
probably.
correct?
Yeah. Hopefully.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, no one's else in the queue. Let's vote.
Resolution is on the board. Each commissioner, please record your vote. 22 votes are entered. Does anyone wish to change your
It's got to
vote?
have on the same shirt. Just about.
With 21 affirmative votes, the resolution is approved.
Okay, Mr. Taylor.
Yes, sir. 2009-06, accepting the low bid of $1,097,568 by JSJ Construction LLC for construction of the Latimer Lane and Hunters Lane waterline expansion projects. These are the projects related to Liberty. They've already been signed off for as far as the easements and right-of-ways. There's nothing holding this up other than us voting on it and accepting it. I so move.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Chris Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Foster. Mr. Mansfield.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to clarify, I guess, is how this process works. I assume we have all the right-of-ways obtained that needed, or did we even need to obtain right-of-ways?
Yeah, we did. All the easements and everything were purchased. This is on the Hunters Lane side. There was no real controversy. The neighbors there were happy to sell the easements. They're boring underneath the driveways, not cutting through them. So the citizens there are pretty happy about the water lines going through there, and there's no controversy.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Commissioner Remote Taylor.
Do you know what size water line they ran, or going to run?
I don't.
Say again, sir. I'm
The
sorry.
size water line.
No, I'm not sure, sir.
Will it also address fire protection?
Here's my understanding for the fire protection. We can have 8-inch lines, which is what's necessary for the fire hydrants, but nobody's going to be able to pump 8 inches to there necessarily. And when we go outside that one area, unless there's a change in talking with the utilities district and Josh Sudeth over planning, one of the things that's come up a lot is they'll want to put lines in to do a fire hydrant, which is great, but the problem is the water going to there might not have enough where they've got to turn around and redo their hydro stations to push more water through. We can check and find out, but I'm sure the school system has a larger line, but I don't believe the surrounding ones coming off that are going to be able to support it. I could be mistaken on that, but I'll find out for you if you want me to.
Well, that was an area that came up in our ad hoc committee. That just,
Well, that's, yeah.
if we can help everybody in all one thing, I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
so,
I'll find out and I'll report at our water meet, the next one.
thank you.
Commissioner Graves.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure about White House Utility, but they could very well be to provide safe drinking water like we are in Castaic and Bethpage. Now, if addressing the hydrants, most of the time, you may have a fire hydrant there, but if you don't pump so many gallons a minute, you can't pump out of it anyway, probably, because you would suck all the water around in other lines.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to be the case there. I don't know how they would do fire protection for the school, but.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Graves.
Okay.
All right. No one else in the queue. Let's vote.
Resolution is on the board. Each commissioner, please record your vote.
Thanks, Gene. Oh, sorry, I was way off on that one. Still got a hot mic, too.
22 votes are entered. Does anyone wish to change your vote?
You're just going to let me talk, aren't you, Jerry? Oh, yeah.
22 affirmative votes. Resolution is unanimously approved.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kemp. Commissioner Taylor.
Yes, sir. Last one, other than Mr. Hinton addressing Mr. Tucker, this will be the last one. 2009-15, appropriating $46,325 for radio rebates to be used for tower projects from capital projects restricted fund balance for the Emergency Management Agency. As Commissioner Driver was saying, Ken actually hoped to have about a $200,000 savings when this project was completely done. and would have, except for this one last site, and it's going to hit the beach area and the cluster of schools there and Long Hollow. And to ensure that we don't have an issue with that, they said the best way was to set up a tower there. They're using this money. He's got a little bit of other money set aside to hopefully take care of it and should resolve everything we're hoping. I mean, obviously, I think it's going to eat up almost all the savings he anticipated is what he thought, but he's still not going to be over budget. So I so move.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Chris Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Shell. Mr. Mansfield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wanted to just reiterate, I guess, make my request, since this is obviously our district, that we have the 1.951302, $1,951,000 approximately coming from the state that is unrestricted in how we use it. I would request that any kind of overages from this, that we be able to pull from that if possible, if you consider that, please.
Yeah, I'm with
Absolutely.
You on
All right, thank you.
Yeah, it has to be done.
that. Yeah, we got to do it.
Yeah, I'm just requesting it can come
Yeah,
from
no,
this
I agree.
money.
I got you.
I'm agreeing with you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. All right. See no one else in the queue. Let's vote.
Resolution is on the board. Each commissioner, please record your vote.
I got the crap. Y'all wore me out tonight. That's terrible.
22 votes are entered. Does anyone wish to change your vote? It is unanimous, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Camp. Mr. Hinton.
If Ms. Tucker would be willing to do that, could we let her make a comment about the correspondence we got from her about the emissions thing? It seems like it dies and we remember it again, so that there is some current information out there.
Thank you, Mr. Hinton. We're hoping Ms. Tucker's eyes are better than Mr. Hinton's and mine, because the internet, the mail's written in a small font. Ms. Tucker, he's wanting if you want to share what you found out about the emissions.
Yes. So a couple of weeks ago, I was able to meet with Congressman John Rose, and I had several constituents that had emailed me regarding the emissions testing and all, and wondering when it was going to be stopped. And so they had contacted the EPA on our behalf, and the response that we had received was that August 2021, they had until that time to make a decision, but they still had public comments to get through. So I'm going to follow back up with them. Mr. Hinton had suggested maybe we see if we can get those public comments, because they said they had some in hand. And so we can look and see what those comments were. But I'm going to stay in contact with Congressman Rose's office and see if we can move this any quicker. I don't know if it'll be any help or not, but it looks like there might be end in sight. So we'll see.
Yeah, and Mr. Hinton, can I share what you shared with me?
Sure.
Okay. Mr. Hinton reached out to Senator Alexander's office and received the following email. Please see the following summary. There is really nothing the state or TDEC can do at this point other than to wait on the EPA's decision. I've attached a copy of the legislation for your use. There's a lot of legislation, a lot of history that basically mirrors what Ms. Tucker just said. Here, the payoff is upon EPA is currently evaluating public comments to the proposed rules. Upon publication of a final rule in the Federal Register, a 120-day shutdown process will commence for the testing program in Hamilton, Williamson, Wilson, Sumner, Rutherford, per the requirements of Public Chapter 953. So, we are much closer. We're much closer to a resolution on about a 2-year, I think, process. Yeah. Probably. 2-year process.
And I would encourage everybody during commercials or any time watching TV, have one of these numbers that you're going to get in your file and call them. Be a pest. It's allowed. Call them. And I can't believe that there isn't some elected official that can't put just a little bit of pressure on EPA, because I don't know whether anybody likes them in the world anymore or not. So. And they claim they got all this comment time. They probably got 4 packages laying over there wants to comment. So don't be bashful about calling these folks. That's what they asked for the job for, just like people called you. Thank you. Move to adjourn.
Oh, wait, hang on. Thank you, Mr. Hinton. Got one more, Ms. Eccles, Ms. Sluter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a letter that I'd like to read. It says, "Dear Chairman Langford, County Mayor Holt, and Honorable Commissioners, it is with respect for this body and as citizens of Sumner County that I must tender my resignation as County Commissioner representing District 7 effective immediately. I have purchased a home that is out of district and am transitioning my primary residence to that home. My 2 years of service have given me some valuable lessons on the nature of public service, and I will continue to hold this body and those that serve with high regard as a private citizen. I appreciate the trust of those citizens that supported and elected me to this office and regret that I was unable to fulfill my commitment to them, but trust that another individual that values the needs of the citizens of District 7 and the future of Sumner County will be able to fill the vacancy left by my departure with a renewed energy. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. It has been my honor."
Ms. Sluter, on behalf of the commission, I want to tell you, thank you for your service and the hard work that you put in and the long hours. You've really done great service to your district, and just personally, I would like to thank you. It's been a joy to get to know each other and to share service here, just as with everyone else, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
There you go. All right. Before we adjourn, I'll just let everybody know that we'll get Ms. Denon to put out some information about what the process will look like, and then we'll ask Mr. Good at our October meeting to give us an update on the process, and we're adjourned.
Without objection.
Without objection, adjourned.